Jen, hey, congratulations on your new short film, She's Clean, that's actually out right now.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Hey, not a problem, not a problem. Thank you for speaking to us about your short film. So let's get that obligatory question out of the way. Where where the idea came from to you to make the short film, She's Clean?
Yeah, I was I had it was the pandemic, and it was about the time where I was like, okay, it's time for me to make something else. I had made a short film a couple years prior that unfortunately did the festival circuit during the pandemic, so it didn't really do the festival circuit. And it was time to make another short, and I was wondering what I wanted to do. And there, I had this sort of thing that I had written, which was basically just like a bunch of dates that either I had been on or friends of mine had shared with me that I had just written down, had a bunch of them. And they read a little bit like a sketch, and I wasn't interested in that. It's like, that's not funny. I don't want that. And then I was like, I think it's the idea that I do want to delve into. I also wanted to challenge the challenge as a filmmaker of visually creating something different than I had in the past. So putting together a bunch of snippets and scenes out of order or sequence, and the challenge of shooting in one location. I wanted that as well to see, to challenge myself in terms of shots and lenses and choreography and blocking. And so I thought, oh, you know what, this might be a good idea. And I submitted the idea to the Sundance Collab program, and I wrote it in that program. And then I was like, okay, it's time to try to get this up and film this. And as soon as Charlie Grouet, who was the cinematographer, agreed, I went, I have to do this because Charlie was the cinematographer on TV shows like High Maintenance and the other two, and I loved his work. So once he said yes, I was like, we got to do this. Find the money. Let's go.
Well said, well said. So what is about I always figure like shower and bath scenes for someone, it's more of an end of the date type of thing. What about that basically I guess what it kind of tests out the relationship on what's next?
Yeah, that's exactly it. I found well, I found the bathroom is just the funnier room in an apartment or a house. I'm like, it's the funniest room. But also it is, I wanted what was and is the most interesting to me is a connection or lack thereof, and how two humans behave after the fact, or after intimacy has happened. And like, to me, is the most vulnerable part of an encounter or relationship with someone, is what happens after supposedly the most vulnerable thing, or happens. How do these two people relate or not relate to each other? And that's always been interesting to me, and I wanted to explore that on film.
Do you find situations like this more comical than anything else?
Yeah, I do. I do. I have to tell you, I find a lot of things more comical than anything else. I tend to definitely look at the humor in life, and I'm happy that I do. It saved me many times, and will continue to. Um, yeah, I find it very funny. I find vulnerability very humorous, and I also think that humor is, the most truthful and beautiful thing that we have.
Now, speaking of vulnerability, one of the things about this short film, obviously, is it's practically the nudity from start to finish. I want to say maybe just a very brief part of your short film. There were clothes on. Talk about the comforts of that, and why did you want to basically start yourself?
Um, I think, well, I can sort of work backwards here. I think my comfort with myself, and I'm the director, I'm the writer, I'm the producer. For lack of a better anything, a great means to an end. Like, we're gonna, on the budget and the time that we have, it'll just be more efficient if I do it. I know what I want. I know what I wrote. I can take care of just, I have to worry about these men, but I don't have to worry about the woman because it's me. So I think that, we saved a lot of time and money just using me, or I did using me. So comfort level on many levels there. Um, I'm comfortable with myself. So that's something that's definitely come with age, that I also wanted to take advantage of. That I guess I never thought that either growing up. I thought, oh, when we get older, we're supposed to, right? That's when we don't like ourselves, or we don't like our bodies, or our bodies age more, or whatever. And I found it to be the opposite for myself, as I got older. And um, oh shoot, I think did you have a first part of this question that I'm missing?
I was
Or you
just talking
maybe,
about the cat. I was asking about casting yourself and the comforts of the nudity.
yeah. And I think we took just technically, I had an intimacy coordinator, Brooke M. Haney, who's incredible. She also just released the book on intimacy coordination. So she literally wrote the book on intimacy coordinators that's out now. So we worked a lot with me and with them so that every single technical element was in place so that we all did feel comfortable to do that. And also, in terms of, your point too, like it's a revealing film. There's a lot of nudity in it. It's set in a bathroom. People are taking a shower. People are naked, women and men post sex, pre-sex, whatever, are naked in a bathroom in a shower. And I didn't want to try to like get precious around that. I wanted to give me and Charlie the options to shoot wherever. Also, I find in film, even in recent films, often the woman is naked and then the men aren't. And I'm like, in my experience, men are also naked. But then we're getting into a conversation about then who's the film for and whose gaze is it, right? Which is always interesting to me as a just sidebar, as a heterosexual female, that a lot of the films I'm watching, I'm like, she's beautiful. But for me, I'm not attracted to her. I'm attracted to the man. I wish he didn't have clothes on. Interesting. It's like, it's not a turn on for me because he's not naked. Or did she not get to enjoy him? So I wanted to sort of make it a little bit more realistic.
Absolutely, and these intimate scenes. I want to say it was a very big challenge for you because not only that you're in these intimate scenes, you have to direct these men in these intimate scenes at the same time. So, what was your approach on doing that?
Yeah, we did again with Brooke. We worked everything out. There's intimacy writers where everything technically is worked out, meaning what is going to be shown or not. They knew what my shot was. They knew what I needed in that scene. Then we also talk about like what's allowed. Are we going to hug in the scene? Are we going to kiss in the scene? Are we going to touch? Where's cool to touch? Where isn't? And then we would get to, so all this was discussed in Zoom ahead of time because pandemic land. So I had talked to each actor individually about what the scene was about, what I wanted to get from the scene emotionally and visually. We agreed on those things. And then when it came to blocking the scene, we were all there. Brooke was there, the intimacy coordinator, and we figured out in the space with the shot how, what would sort of work best. And then once you knew what the parameters were, it was like, go for it. Do whatever you feel comfortable that your character would do in this moment. And it was really generous of them, and it was very planned out. It was also very planned out, and hopefully I felt was also very free. It didn't feel mechanical, or now we move here, now we do this, it was, it's a small space. So in terms of camera and blocking, there wasn't much that we had to take care of there. Like the camera's on the shot, it's sort of like, we'll do what you want within this frame.
Well said. Well said. I do have another question about the intimacy coordinator
Yeah.
because a lot of people start hearing about intimacy coordinators just recently because of the strikes, because that was one of the conditions that everyone's trying to
Right.
get the studios to agree to. But it seems like you brought in an intimacy coordinator. I knew it's always been around, but you brought it during the pandemic, which talked about it, and we're talking about the pandemic was like 4 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the intimacy of coordinators, I didn't have one on, I didn't an intimate scene in high maintenance. I didn't have one there, but I was one of the last ones. They've been around for maybe a couple of years before, maybe 2017. They've been sort of on the scene, 2017, maybe
Mhm.
2018, maybe they've been around. Yeah, that sounds about right. And do you mean the strikes, like is your question, do you think that we should have
No, no,
them,
no. My
or?
my my question is how did you came about going to the decision of bringing in an intimacy coordinator during the time when a lot of people weren't even talking about intimacy coordinators?
Yeah, I guess in my head, I did, in my world, we were talking about them. Maybe it wasn't a rule of the producers or DJ or SAG. It wasn't quite discussed, yeah, to what you're saying. But I knew there was no way I wouldn't have one. I knew that it was something that, like, I definitely knew was out there and available and people were utilizing them, and it sounded like a fabulous idea to me. So I definitely always knew that I wanted to interview some and have one on set and work with
Most
me.
most excellent. Now, of course, let's talk about the other character in your film, the bathroom itself.
Yeah.
Tell us about the bathroom you commandeered, and I understand, like you mentioned before, it's actually a tiny bathroom, right?
Well, it's I mean, that's a bit of a lie. It was a very expensive bathroom. We actually, thank you for calling it a character. I love that. I absolutely love that. Um, we did rent this entire brownstone in Brooklyn because I needed space because of the pandemic. I needed like rooms, right? I mean, of course, it was a very small crew and we had actors coming in and out, but I needed, like, an outdoor space for people to eat lunch. I needed, like, the actors to have their own room to dress in. I couldn't use, like, my friend's bathroom in New York. I couldn't have everybody, and I didn't want to either. So I definitely spent the money on a bathroom that we found online, that and then we had access to all these floors just to be in, for production to be in. And the bathroom itself was not small. New York, for a New York scale bathroom. We did have access to it from outside. There's one shot you can see is beautiful of me and Louis Cancelm in the bathtub. So you could see there's this big, beautiful window on one side. And when you turned around, there actually was like a porch or a deck, or excuse me, a balcony. So we even opened the window and shot out on the balcony inside. So we had a lot. I mean, in the actual, and the shower was glass, as you can see. So we had a lot of access to the space. It just was maneuvering where the camera could fit to get the shot. We went as wide as we could, but, in a space that's, one location, it's definitely, smaller than this small living room. It's definitely smaller than this, but it wasn't as small as you think.
Hmm.
Or it wasn't as small as I would think from New York standards. We needed options.
Well, it sounds like you were very creative and up to the challenge itself. So,
It was
so
really
Jen,
fun.
tell us about being a short film director yourself. Is this process sort of like just staying creative in the industry and always creating?
Yeah, being a short filmmaker is fairly new to me. I graduated with an acting degree from Boston University and moved to New York, and I've been an actor ever since. But I've been making downtown performance art and theater with my friends for years, since 2000. So I've always and make little videos. When we started, in 2000, we didn't have these and we weren't making videos, but now, we didn't have social media or anything, but ever, we always were, me and my friends were always creating something um, silly and performative, and, be it live or some video in downtown New York. So I do think that I have constantly created. It might not be it's now more in film, but I've always been a creator of original work with my friends. And I do think that it is something that we're calling upon actors to do more than we used to. Um, and yeah, God, a lot of actors have to be producers and editors these days. They do. I tell my students that. I teach at USD part-time, and we do have to have more of a hand in creating our own work. And while that can be like, oh my God, it's the most freeing thing that we have. And it's autonomy, and it's in the industry, it is a road for you to go down to create your own path. So yeah, it's a good idea, and we are doing it. And I encourage artists to keep going down that path. And famous actors and artists are doing it. I just listened to a podcast where Chris Pine was talking about the film that he just did, Pool Guy, and
Okay.
he directed and wrote and produced the film. Great, like people are doing it across the board, are making their own work with their own money. Didn't what's his name? Didn't make isn't Civil not Civil War, but
Mhm.
Megatropolis. Is it
Yeah.
Megatropolis?
Yeah, Megatropolis.
Megatropolis. Have you seen it yet?
I have not, but that is a very huge gamble, but that's his passion project.
Yeah, yeah, it's his passion project. And but like people, just meaning that like the industry, if it's not there for you to like to utilize, you jump in and place yourself right there. I think you might have always known that too with that film, but I look forward to seeing it.
So is like the eventual game for yourself is to get to that point where you want to direct sort of and produce and write a full length feature film?
No. Right. This is I love that you just got me exhausted. I think I just lost a year thinking about that. At the moment, I mean, one day I will produce, write, and direct my own feature film. I would really I would really right now I just finished the Ryan Murphy Half Initiative program, and I'm still working up on the Fox lot. Directing television is something that I'm starting to pursue, that I really love that pace and that map of sort of stepping into a family dinner that's already there and getting to step into that episodic television. That's what I'm really excited about right now, is getting my first episode of episodic television to direct. And I'm actively looking for someone else's feature film that I want to direct. I mean, I do have something that I'm writing. It's taking me a while, but there's a feature film that I'm writing, and it is the thing that I want to do. And I have at least settled on that, but that's going to be a little bit down the road. But I'm really looking forward to, I'm feeling a pull to interpret someone else's words right now. I feel a little bit, it isn't over myself, but writing has been for me. I enjoy it, but it is a bit of a means to an end. And I really love reading other people's work and watching something, be it a play or a film, and thinking how I would have done that or how I would do that. So I'm really trying to tap my friends, even friends who are musicians, and I'm like, let's make a music video. Like, let's do it. I'm very excited to step into someone else's writing and in their world and interpret it um, through my eyes.
Most excellent. Sounds like you're entering your next chapter that is currently being written. So
I hope so.
Jen, thank you very much for taking the time carrying this conversation with us. And once again, congratulations for releasing She's Clean, which is out everywhere that people can actually watch today.
Out on Vimeo.
All right.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.